Daniel Mercer wasn't looking for love. He was looking for someone who could organize his life, tame his chaos, and make sure he didn't miss another client meeting or another meal. But the moment Emily Hart walked into his office, 5 minutes early, with a smile that felt like sunlight spilling across a gray morning, he realized he might be in trouble. She was professional, poised, and entirely unprepared for the effect she would have on him. By the end of the day, Daniel knew two things for certain. She was perfect for the job, and he was falling for her, faster than he had ever fallen for anything, or anyone before. Before we getting into the details, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories. When Daniel Mercer posted the job listing, love was the last thing on his mind. He needed an assistant. Organized, punctual, unflappable. Someone who could untangle his calendar, keep clients happy, and remind him to eat lunch when he forgot. The ad was precise, almost clinical. So was Daniel. Or at least, that's what he liked to believe. Then Emily Hart walked into his office. She arrived 5 minutes early, wearing a soft blue blouse and a smile that felt unpracticed. Not dazzling, not rehearsed, just warm, as if she genuinely enjoyed meeting new people. Daniel noticed that smile immediately, and then noticed himself noticing it, which irritated him. They shook hands. Her grip was confident. Her eyes were curious. The interview went smoothly. Too smoothly. Emily answered every question with ease, but not with the stiff polish Daniel was used to. She laughed lightly when she made a small joke about color-coded spreadsheets. She admitted she liked structure, but loved creativity too. She spoke about work like it mattered, but not like it was the only thing that did. By the time she left, Daniel already knew he would hire her. What he didn't know was how quickly she would become part of his days. Emily transformed his office without moving a single piece of furniture. The chaos in his inbox vanished. Meetings ran on time. His coffee appeared exactly when he needed it. Strong in the mornings, gentler in the afternoons. She remembered details. Which client hated phone calls, which one loved to chat, which days Daniel stayed late. At first, their conversations were purely professional. Then they weren't. It started with small things. A shared joke about an overly dramatic email. A recommendation for a bakery down the street. Emily brought pastries one Friday morning, just because, and Daniel realized he was looking forward to Fridays more than he ever had before. He began to notice how she hummed softly when she worked, how she tapped her pen when she was thinking, how her smile changed depending on whether she was amused, pleased, or quietly proud of herself. Emily noticed things too. She noticed how Daniel pretended not to care what people thought, but always stayed late to make sure a project was perfect. How he softened when talking about his younger sister. How he trusted her, really trusted her, without ever saying the word. The line between employer and employee blurred in ways neither of them named. One evening, after a long day, they found themselves alone in the office. The city outside the windows glowed gold and pink as the sun set. Emily finished her notes and stood, stretching slightly. "You work too hard," she said gently. "So do you," Daniel replied. She smiled. "Maybe. But I like it." There was something in her voice then. An openness that made his chest tighten. He wanted to say something meaningful. Something honest. Instead he said, "Thank you. For today." "For the job," she teased. "For everything," he corrected. Their eyes held for a moment longer than necessary. The air felt different. Not heavy, not tense, just full. Like a breath waiting to be taken. After that, things shifted. Not dramatically. Not suddenly. Just enough. They began walking out together at night. Coffee breaks stretched longer. Laughter came easier. Daniel caught himself imagining telling her things he'd never told anyone. Emily caught herself wondering what it would feel like if he reached for her hand. Neither of them did. Because it was complicated. Because it was risky in quiet, ordinary ways. Because naming something made it real. Then came the email. Emily read it twice, her heart quickening. She closed her laptop slowly and stood, smoothing her blouse. Daniel looked up from his desk. "Everything okay?" he asked. She hesitated. "Daniel, can we talk?" He nodded, suddenly alert. She stepped into his office and closed the door behind her. Not dramatically, just firmly. She took a breath, steadying herself. "I've been offered another position," she said. A really good one. The words landed softly, but the silence that followed was loud. Daniel stood. Another job? Yes. It's a big opportunity. He searched her face, trying to read what she wasn't saying. Are you thinking of taking it? Emily met his gaze. Her expression was unreadable now. Hopeful, uncertain, brave. I wanted to talk to you first, she said. Because before I decide, there's something I need to know. Daniel's heart pounded. What's that? She took one step closer. Is this just a job to you, she asked quietly, or is it more? The office felt impossibly still. Daniel opened his mouth to answer, and the moment hung there, waiting. Daniel didn't answer right away. Not because he didn't know, but because he knew too much all at once. He looked at Emily standing there, hands loosely clasped, eyes steady but vulnerable, and realized how deeply she had woven herself into his life. Mornings that began with her voice. Decisions that felt easier when she was nearby. Silences that were comfortable simply because she shared them. This was never just a job, he said finally, his voice low and honest. Emily exhaled, a breath she'd clearly been holding. Then what is it? He stepped closer, careful, as if moving too fast might break something fragile and precious. It's the part of my day I look forward to most. It's the reason I stay late without resenting it. He stopped, searching for the right words. It's you. Her eyes softened, shining in a way that made his chest ache. I didn't plan this, he continued. I tried not to feel it. I told myself it was inappropriate, unprofessional, every excuse I could find. But every day, it became harder to pretend I didn't care. Emily smiled then, not playful, not teasing, but deeply relieved. I tried to be careful too, she admitted. I told myself you were my boss. That I shouldn't read into the way you listen to me, or how you remember things I say. She laughed quietly. I failed at that. They were close enough now that Daniel could see the faint freckle near her cheek, the slight tremor in her hands. So, she said softly, what does this mean? Daniel hesitated. Not because he was unsure of his feelings, but because he understood the weight of the moment. One choice would change everything. The other would let something beautiful slip away. It means, he said, that if you take that job I'll be proud of you, and I'll regret not telling you this sooner. Emily's breath caught. And if I stay? She asked. His gaze dropped briefly to her lips, then returned to her eyes. Then we'll have to stop pretending. The space between them felt electric now. Tender, hopeful, terrifying. Daniel arrived at the office earlier than usual, the city still quiet, the light pale and new. He straightened his desk for the third time and checked his watch for the fifth. Every sound in the hallway made his heart jump. He replayed last night's conversation over and over, wondering if he should have said more or less. Wondering if honesty had come too late. At exactly 8:57 a.m., the elevator chimed. Daniel looked up. Emily walked in. She wore a simple cream dress instead of her usual blouse and slacks, her hair loose around her shoulders. Not dressed for a regular workday. Not dressed for an interview either. She carried her bag, and nothing else. No folders. No notebook. His pulse quickened. Good morning, she said, her voice calm but warm. Good morning, he replied, standing. You're early. She smiled faintly. I didn't sleep much. Neither did he. They stood there for a moment, the office waking around them. Finally, Emily took a breath. I read the offer again, she said. It was generous. Exciting. Safe. Daniel nodded, bracing himself. But it felt like something was missing, she continued. And I realized, it wasn't the job. It was the idea of leaving without knowing what this could be. Hope stirred, careful and bright. I don't want to build a life wondering, what if, she said. Not about my career, and not about you. Daniel crossed the space between them before he could overthink it. Emily. She lifted a hand, smiling. Let me finish. He stopped, listening. I'm not staying just because of you, she said. I'm staying because I believe in myself, and because I believe this connection deserves a chance. But it has to be honest. Clear. No blurred lines. He nodded immediately. Of course. I won't be your assistant anymore, she said. His heart skipped. What? She laughed softly. Relax. I mean professionally. If we do this, we do it right. I'll transition out. We'll tell HR. I'll move to a different department or step away entirely if needed. Daniel stared at her, admiration flooding through him. You've thought this through. I had all night, she said gently. Silence settled again, but this time it was hopeful. So, she said, folding her hands behind her back, the question is, do you still want to find out what this could be? Daniel didn't hesitate. Yes, he said. I want to take you to dinner. Not as my employee. Not as a risk I talk myself out of. But as a woman I care about. Her smile bloomed, full and radiant. I'd like that. He reached for her hand, slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. Their fingers intertwined, natural and right, as if they'd been waiting for permission all along. Then the office door opened behind them. Daniel? A voice called. HR needs to see you immediately. It's about the restructuring. They turned at the same time. Emily's grip tightened slightly around his hand. Daniel met her eyes, 100 questions passing between them in a single look. Restructuring meant change. Uncertainty. Decisions that couldn't be undone. He squeezed her hand once, steady, and stepped toward the door, not knowing whether the future waiting on the other side would pull them closer together, or test everything they'd just begun. The email was brief. Too brief for something that felt so large. Daniel read it once. Then again. He leaned back in his chair, letting the words settle, not with panic, not with urgency, but with clarity. The kind that arrives quietly, when a decision has already been made somewhere deeper than logic. Across the office, Emily closed her laptop and stood. She didn't ask what it said. She didn't need to. Something in Daniel's posture told her everything had shifted. They met in the doorway between their offices, the space that had witnessed weeks of almosts and not quites. My meeting's been moved up, Emily said. They want my answer today. Daniel nodded. Mine too. A smile curved her lips, soft, resolute. Then I guess this is the moment. It is, he said. They didn't rush it. They walked out together for lunch, choosing a small cafe neither of them had tried before. They talked about practical things, timelines, logistics, boundaries, and about foolish things too, like favorite movies and places they'd always wanted to see. It felt strangely normal, like the beginning of something that had been waiting patiently. By mid-afternoon, they were back. Emily went to HR first. Daniel waited. When she returned, there was a lightness to her step he'd never seen before. I'm transferring to a different division, she said. Different floor. Different reporting line. Clean start. Relief and pride flooded him. That's perfect. What about you? She asked. He held up his phone. I turned down the travel-heavy role. Took the leadership position here instead. Her eyes widened. You chose to stay. I chose balance, he corrected. And the chance to build something that matters. She smiled, eyes bright. Good. The workday ended without ceremony. No announcements. No applause. Just the quiet understanding that something essential had changed. As the office emptied, Daniel waited by the elevator. Emily joined him, her bag slung over her shoulder. So, she said, dinner? Yes, he replied. But first, there's something I want to say, before this becomes easy. She looked at him, attentive. I don't know where this goes, he said. I just know I want to find out, with honesty, patience, and intention. Emily reached for his hand, intertwining her fingers with his the way she had that morning. That's exactly how I want to do it too. The elevator doors opened. They stepped inside together. As the doors slid shut, sealing off the familiar world behind them, Daniel realized something simple and profound. He hadn't just hired her for a job. They had both chosen a beginning. And as the elevator descended, carrying them toward their first night together, not as boss and assistant, but as two people willing to try, the future waited below, unwritten and wide open.